Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the flip side. I appreciate you joining me here. I do appreciate it as much as I possibly can. Nuno Rebello is here. Hello everyone. Good to see you, Nuno. Bushman 714. Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon to you too as well. Well, we are going to be trying something a little bit different today. This is, to be honest with you, and that's pretty much what we are here. We are, hello Bushman, we are as transparent as we possibly can be. Zexto is here, good to see you too, hello. And honestly, I was just struggling with what I was going to do today. I had a number of different things that I could do, but none of them really kind of went, yeah, let's try that. And so this was actually Jesse's idea, and one of the things that I've learned in our marriage thus far is that when she gives a good idea, do it. Pure and simple. If she says this is a good idea, and there's not a good reason to say no, I don't think that's a good idea, just give it a whirl, see how it goes, and that's what we're doing today. So because I was doing a lot of different things. I was thinking, I could do a solo play of something. I need to get more games to the table. I could do we had a lot of games come in from publishers over the weekend. And so I could punch those out and just kind of hang out online. Punch out the games and organize them as we spoke, and just kind of talk about each game as I did that. Thought I could probably do that. That was an idea. A live solo play. There's just a lot of things kicking around, and none of them were really kind of hitting as, yeah, let's do that. and so I texted. We were already texting about something else, and I said I'm struggling with what I should do for the flip side today, and she said, well, why don't you do this? And sure enough, she just said, bring down one of the games off your shelf and just talk about it. And I was like, that's super simple. Why didn't I think of that? Way to go, Jess. Yes, smart man. Yes, listen to that wife. Absolutely. And so that's basically what we're going to be doing today. I've pretty much got about an hour, so I'm not going to be like rifling through. I've only got 2 games. I pulled 2 games off of the shelf. One is 10 years old, and the other one is, according to the, let me see if I can find it real quick. Well, it's not going to be real quick because I didn't find it yet. Wouldn't you know it? Dadgummit, they don't have the year of publication on. I thought they had to do that, but I guess not. I can look it up. So one of them is 10 years old. One of them came out in 2013. I know it doesn't belong in a museum if it's just 10 years old. I get it. But that's just kind of I like making things that are thematic. And I watch movies a lot. That's kind of like a secondary hobby for me. So whenever I think about things, I usually put them into the context of some type of movie quote. And so it belongs in a museum is just the first line that came to mind when I was talking about things that are in my collection. So there you go. 10 years old. Got shoes that old. I know. I don't think that I have shoes that, I wear shoes really hard. Usually, I think the longest I've had a pair of shoes last here recently was about 3 years. And it was, you can't wear them anymore. They got holes in them, and the sole's starting to come off of them. I just wear shoes really hard, so I can't get shoes to last that long. So yeah, only 10 years old. But again, it's just a thematic tie-in. That's all it is. I am not saying that any of these games that I show during this series are super old. They're just old, at least by comparison to the the regular flow of the hobby right now, and that is everybody's bent towards all the new stuff that's coming out. Yesterday had like, I don't know, 4 or 5 different Kickstarters start. I was like, man, what in the world? Anyway, yeah, 10 isn't that old. I'm not saying that these are super old. I'm just saying that they are they're older. Let's use that word. How about? All right. So anyway, I was looking up how old this other game is. So let me go ahead and do that, and you guys can just join me. So I'm on the Geek. So I'm not going to say what I'm looking up because oh no, it can't be that young. No. There it is. Sure enough. Wow, this is a lot younger than I thought it was. Huh. Anyway. All right, so one is 10 years old, one is 9 years old. But that's interesting. Wow, I would have thought this game was a lot older than this, because I thought I've been hearing about it for a lot longer than this. But anyway, okay. 10 years old, 9 years old. That's what we're doing today, so there you have it. Let's see here. Paul O'Farrell. Still have my first Risk. Bought in 95. Wow. Kriegspiel from Avalon Hill belongs in a museum. Zexto. Here in the group I play in every 4 weeks we get some older games back to the table. That's the way to do it, I think. You know, often we tend to, and I say we in a corporate sense, there could be a number of different exceptions, but we tend to gravitate towards all the new stuff that's coming out there, right? Because we're interested in it. That's part of the hobby. Whenever something new comes to any part of the hobby, any hobby, people are pretty much drawn to it. Well, here in the board game hobby, we have thousands of things coming out every year that are new to the hobby, and some of them are really shiny. You know what I mean? So they garner our attention, and I'm not saying that it shouldn't, but at the same time, one of the things that I think we want to do here on the flip side is continue to shine a light on some of those older games that in one way, shape, or form deserve it. And I know that that is a subjective thing to say. The reason why I think it might deserve the limelight, or at least a little bit of the limelight, some of the afterglow, will be different than what other people say, and somebody might say there's no way that game deserves any more light. It's been done for X number of years and whatever. So, all Avalon Bushman Museum, all Avalon Hill games belong in the museum. Kriegspiel was my first modern board game at age 13. All right. Vanessa is here. Vanessa Garritan, welcome, madam. Thank you for joining us. We certainly appreciate you as well. Paul O'Farrell, I said hi to you, I think. But if I didn't, hello. So we are, we're going to get started doing this new series. Now, again, it's not always going to be one of the reasons why we might pull them down into this. Like, for example, one of the games that we're talking about today, I've played a lot, and it was it's a really enjoyable experience. And I think there are a lot of games that are coming out today, newer games, in the last, a couple of years at least, that use the same mechanism. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it today. The second one is a little bit of a couch time for me, because I've had this game in my collection for quite some time now, and I've never played it. Never. I've never played this game, and it has been it's just one of those things that's always been on my shelf of shame, and part of the reason why is how the box looks. So that's my fault. That's all on me. But anyway, that's a little bit more what's going on. What about the game? What about the game Museum? Well, that's pretty new, actually. And Vincent Dutrait artwork, if I'm not mistaken. And when I first saw it, I really wanted to play it. Haven't been able to get a copy of it, and just haven't been able to play that one. But that's a funny remark, Vanessa. The bookcase games with the sleeve. The bookcase game with the sleeve. Yeah, that's something that some games have returned to. You know, they're games that basically just come in a cardboard box, but they had a slip case that had the box cover artwork on it, and you slip that off and it's just a box. Yeah, those are old, and that's one of the reasons why I thought one of the ones that we're looking at today was a lot older than I thought it was. But Bushman might be catching my scent a little bit there as far as one of the games that we're talking about today. But I'll ask him to keep that on the DL, if you would, my good friend. All right, so I just had to skip one of my own ads. Can you believe it? Man, YouTube. Monopoly belongs in a tomb. Well, I have to say that I will. I try not to give. I do not like Monopoly. I try not to give Monopoly and those that do like Monopoly any ire, because again, at the end of the day, you like what you like, and nobody can really say anything about it. But I will say, most of the time when people talk about Monopoly, it's one of the first games that gets brought up in conversations that get sparked throughout town when I'm doing chores, not chores, but running errands and whatnot. And more often than not, I rarely have people say, you know, I really love Monopoly. Usually, it is some horrifying experience that they had with Monopoly, but it's the first game that comes to mind when you talk to them about board games. And therein lies the problem, right? And I would imagine it's at least in part the reason why people don't think playing board games can be fun, because they've had poor experiences with them in the past. So that's an unfortunate thing. And one of the things that Jesse and I are trying to, at least in some small way, counteract in our community here. So I think they spent more on packaging than the game itself. Huh. Yeah, maybe. Nuno says, I have a copy of Monopoly. Don't know why. Only game I do not like. I don't know that we have a copy of Monopoly anymore. We had a copy of Wenatchiopoly. Somebody gave it to us for Christmas one time, just kind of like as a, I don't know if it was a joke or if they just said, hey, they like board games. Here's a board game. It's Wenatchiopoly. And they gave it to us, and of course it didn't ever get opened. We looked at the box. We laughed at a couple of the things because there were, you know, some of the streets around town that we travel on all the time and that kind of stuff. So it was neat to look at the board only on the back of the box. We didn't actually open it, but we re-gifted it to someone. I can't remember who. How about Solar Quest? I'll have to look it up. I don't have it in my collection. That brings up a good point to make, though. Those games that we go over here on this series, it should be in a museum, are only going to be games that are in my collection. So I'm looking at it as kind of like a deeper dive past the Why It's There series that I ran. I think around 10 videos of where I just kind of show different shelves in my collection and just briefly talked about each of the different games that were on that shelf. So this is going to be like a deeper dive. So I'll take a couple of games from different shelves and we'll go over each of them and just kind of have a good time there. Some of those Opoly games are cringy. Yeah, I can see the draw of those really kind of unique whatever Opoly games. Like, I can see the draw of a Wenatchiopoly. If someone came here and liked the Valley and really found, really had a great time where they were. It would be a good memento, but Monopoly as a game is, in my opinion, just not a very good game. So, but I can see the draw of those like memento type purchases that you could have on some of those things. But yeah, by and large, good night. While we're going through these top 10 lists and doing research and stuff like that, we've had a couple of years where there was like a truckload of Monopoly versions that came out that year, and I was just like, man alive, the IPs that are just cycled through. It's just like a coat of paint. That's all it is. There's no thematic value at all. There have been a couple. I did like the Tom got me a long time ago. Tom got me a copy of the Star Wars Episode 1 Monopoly when it came out, when the movie first released. And I really enjoyed that one. It had really great pieces. It had like pewter miniatures of like, one was Darth Maul and another one was Obi-Wan, another one was Qui-Gon, and so it was a really neat version, and the production value of that box of that game was really good. So I kept that in my collection for a long time. I played it with my kids a lot. That's the only version of Monopoly we would really ever touch with a 10-meter cattle prod. So there are some that kind of do well, but most, the lion's share, do not. And so that's unfortunate. Cash grabs. Yep, absolutely. Name, cash in. That's correct. Onitama, a nice two-player game. That is correct as well. Onitama is a great game. We actually, at the family game night at St. Paul's, where my wife works, Jesse was able to teach a younger couple that came with their two kids, very well-behaved kids, and she was able to sit down with the mom and dad and teach them how to play Onitama, and they loved it. They loved the simplicity of it. They loved how they were able to take just 5 moves and play an entire game on just 5 moves. And then they had so many others. You have so many other moves that you choose from, that you randomly choose throughout the course of the game, that makes each game so much different than the other one. So yeah, Onitama is a great game. 10-meter cattle prod and a Texas sticker. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. I'll bring out my first game. This is the one that is 10 years old, and we will talk about it. It has changed names. I think now it is just Augustus, but this is called The Rise of Augustus, designed by Paolo Mori, and the artwork is Vincent Dutrait's artwork. It is a very beautiful game. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it out, is because of how good the game looks. Now, on top of that, the reason I wanted to do this one is because this is 10 years old. And there are a lot of games that are coming out with that bingo type mechanism that is basically at the core of this one, that are using it now. And now that I've said that, I can't remember the ones that came to mind earlier. Junk Drawer is one of them. Tiny Towns is another. Where you have to choose something and then everybody does that. Or, like in Tiny Towns, you can flip over a card and then everybody has to do that card. So that basic mechanism where Silver and Gold is another one that does it. And so these are all games that use the same kind of mechanism that this is what I called bingo for gamers for the longest time. Because this was kind of the first time that I was introduced to that mechanism outside of the actual game bingo. So that is what we would like to do. That family game night sounded like my worst nightmare. There were, Vanessa, a lot of nightmarish things that were happening. However, one of the things that Jessie does is she strives to see the positive in things, even if they were kind of a dumpster fire type situation. She strives to see and to think through the event and see the positive things. She doesn't turn a blind eye to all of the nightmarish stuff that happened, but she uses that, and I try to take some of this, because my first takeaways from that was like, I don't know that I ever want to do that again. But after we talked a little bit, we were both like, no, we would love to do it again, but we need to change some things. We need to make some, make some changes and be a little bit more stringent on this part and that part and that kind of stuff. So, but she strove to see the good parts out of it, which is to her credit. Yeah, it wasn't. It was definitely not what we were expecting. We were both kind of taken aback by it, but and I probably more so than she was. But she strove to see a lot of the positives, and there were a lot of positives. But as per usual, the negatives just kind of usually stick out in your mind a little bit too much than they probably should. Onitama app works very well too. I'm in Louisiana. In-laws have cattle ranch in Texas. Very cool, Eddie. Hey, I've actually played this. Roman bingo is fun. Yes, like most role, verb, and rights. That is correct. Bob Rock is here. Hello, howdy. Regards from Sarajevo. All right. Midnight tea and some Sam talk. Brilliant. Super duper, man. Good to have you. All right, so let's go ahead and get down to the table. I'm going to open this guy up, and we're going to take a look at what's on the inside. So as you can see, the box art is really nice. And that is simply because that is Vincent Dutrait's artwork, and he is the bomb diggity. All right. So it's only a 30-minute game, and that's, if I remember correctly, it's about 30 to 45 minutes. 2 to 6 players, ages 8 and up, because frankly, all you're doing is you're kind of choosing a type of unit, and you're basically able to put one of your soldiers on that type of unit, and you're able to go. This is the one thing that I didn't really like about the game. The rule book doesn't come in an actual book form. It kind of has this trifold pamphlet that, but I mean, it works. But anyway, you can see how setup looks there. And so there isn't an actual board, but you do have a lot of different elements to the game. But the artwork is just something that looks really nice. So here are the components of the game. And again, we're not going to belabor too much of the point. Ooh, I even have, oh man, I kept the catalog thing from when this came out. Wow, that's pretty neat. So this is Hurricane game catalog, and I don't recognize any of these other games. Oh wait, no, there's Mr. Jack. The Mr. Jack games were good. Oh, Phantom of the Opera. I actually remember that game too. Cool beans. That's a little stroll down memory lane. Here is the book, the scorebook, and as you can see, it just comes with a. Oh wow! I even have the French rules in here. Usually I just throw those out, but I actually have the French rules in here. Well, we'll keep them. Interesting. So, this is back when these cardboard inserts were the rage, but it does its job. The box is bigger than it probably should be, because let's face it, here's all the stuff that you need for the game, and here's the size of the box. A little bit off, isn't it? And again, this rule book could be a bit smaller, but I think they have done another version of this game. The name changed; it's now called Augustus. So maybe, and I can't remember for sure, but I think maybe the box is smaller now. So this is just back in the day when games were just large. So we'll go ahead. So here we have some of the different land tiles. I don't know if they're called land tiles. What are they called? Let's see here. Provinces. And then there are also senators. So you have all of these different provinces. And so provinces basically had different colors on them. And then senators would look something like this. And so this is how many points this card would give you if you completed it by putting some of your Roman soldiers and these little centurion meeples. And again, this is back when centurion meeples just looked like that. So you would basically, over the course of time, you'd be able to put these things on here. And the way that I'm doing this completely from memory, so I am supremely aware that I might be screwing something up. But we have different goal cards here. And then we have other goal cards. These are kind of like based on set collection type stuff. So if you have the most senators finished, if you have the most from this province finished, you would get this, and so forth and so on. Whoever had the most gold and wheat and all that kind of thing. And these were basically player aids, and they would basically tell you how many of each thing were in the deck. So as we're going through, I'm trying to think. I thought, now I gotta look it up. Sorry, I'm looking it up. Oh yes, it's right in front of me. Stupid. Oh, I'm such a dingle hopper. So each time you're basically going to, on your turn, this is filled with a bunch of these tokens, you see? And these tokens represent what you will be able to cover up on your turn. So when somebody draws one out of the bag here, so you draw one out of the bag and boom, you can cover up a chariot. So everybody looks on their things here and they say, okay, I'm going to cover this chariot up. And so it continues going. Somebody else draws one out and boom. Oh, it's another chariot. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and cover up the other chariot here. Now I just need to get a couple of those siege engines done. And so then somebody else draws out, oh, it's another chariot. So now, well, I need chariots up here too. And you can only have a certain number of these cards out, any given number of turns. But when you finish one, I think you can draw another one. I believe that there will be a kind of a draft area on the board. Oh, this is why I don't like this thing. It's so huge. But anyway, there's like a draft area out here and there's an area there that is yours, and this is a draft area that are available objectives and so forth. So the game will go, let me see, a number of rounds, I believe, or until, let's see, where is it at? End game. Okay, game ends after a player has 7 controlled objectives at the end of the round. So that's pretty much what you're doing. You're looking to try to control 7 objectives first, and then you go through and you do all of these scores, and each of the different things that you can finish over the course of a round will score differently. For example, this one's going to give you 5 points, but it's possible that if you get the most of the pink ones, that you'll also get 8 points out of it. There's one here that has a set of each of them. So the most senators, the most in green. So there's just a number of different things that are going on. But the thing that really had me latch onto it the most was the simplicity of that bingo mechanism, where you're just pulling these things out of a bag and saying, okay, now everybody has to play swords. So now you choose which swords you place out. You could have multiple cards that have swords on them, so you might want to try to go for one that has, maybe you need it for a set, or it's worth more points or whatever. But then each of the different things here over the course of the game will give you different kinds of things. Like this one, while you have this finished, if a shield comes out, you can treat it as a chariot, or if a chariot comes out, you can treat it as a shield, and you can cover up, instead of covering up a chariot, you can cover up a shield, and vice versa if you have this guy finished. And so there's a lot of different special abilities that are in there, but a couple of things that were going well for it were, matter of factly, the game looks great. I mean, the artwork is just tremendous. I'm going to continue putting out some of these. I'll keep that dude out there, but most of the province cards don't have a whole lot of difference to them, except that the province that they actually stand for are shown in the kind of the background, and then the resources, I believe, that were known for coming from that region are pictured on there. But the background up here at the top, they're all pretty much the same, as you can see. Same thing with the different senators that are out here, but the senators look really cool too. So it's just a really neat looking game, in my opinion, and that's why I've kept it so long, is because if I find some people like this dude, there was another guy out there that looked like this, I thought. Where'd he go? Nope. Okay, so this dude's out here too. And then there's this dude. So you get what I'm saying? Artwork, it just goes a long way in these games for me, and that's why I've kept it. So if I come at if I find people that are interested in that kind of mechanism, somebody that likes junk drawer, well, if you like that bingo mechanism, this might be a good next step for them. You know what I mean? So, and these components, while there aren't a lot of components in the game, they're nice. They're not chintzy, and people that are playing the game will think, wow, this is pretty nice. These are all wooden pieces. These are all cardboard tokens. This bag is pretty nice as well. Just to take these out, you can get an idea of how many tokens are in the bag. So you kind of get the idea, right? Hopefully. And then you also have that scoring sheet as well. So hopefully you kind of get the idea. Never heard of it. Looks cool. I love how you point out artists and games all the time. Really awesome. Thank you, Eddie. I'm really of the opinion that games that look good are more fun to play. That's just something that I've always kind of latched onto. So especially if I find an artist that I like, I will do a little bit of research and try to find other games that have that same artist, so that I can enjoy those games. Because I have experienced games that I might not enjoy them as much if the artwork wasn't as good. I'm a very aesthetic gamer, and I know that that's not everybody, but I firmly believe that generally speaking, if a game looks good, it's more fun to play. The box is a bit large. Yes, you are correct. I thought the game was reprinted with a new theme. That I don't know. Your meeples are also limited. Thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate that. Hello, Karen. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Nice production for an elderly game. It would be cheaply done today, probably. Yeah, that might be. It really looks like bingo. Yeah, pretty much. It pretty much is. It is bingo. I mean, you are literally, okay, B7. There's my B7. Let's mark that off. Bink, got it. So it is literally bingo. It is literally gamers bingo, but it's got a nice theme. It's got nice artwork, and it works, So there you go. Heard a lot about this, but first time seeing it, Nuno Rebello says. The Romans had ostriches? Cool. Well, I'm pretty sure ostriches have been around for quite some time, so I wouldn't be surprised. But now they also had fish too. Look at that. I was a little snarky. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Vanessa. But you get the idea, right? I mean, oh, look, they also had horses. I'm sorry. You'll have to forgive me. All right, but so this is the Rise of Augustus, or I think the name changed to Augustus. Let me look. Let me see if it's still there. I might be able to see. No, that was the wrong one. Let me go to Rise of Augustus. Rise of Augustus 2013, re-implemented by Via Magica. So yeah, I guess they did. It looks like a picture of it. They did put it in a much smaller box. That's amazing. A much smaller box, but it looks like about the same. It looks like there might be. Looks like the Roman meeples were switched out with those translucent blue crystals, but it looks like almost everything else is the same, except for it has a new theme on it, and it does not have Vincent Dutrait's artwork anymore. But it doesn't mean that it isn't good. Regis Torres, Jean-Baptiste Renaud, Paul Maffillon, Mathieu Lesson, Jérémy Fleury, Camille Chaussy, and Biboun. So those are artists that I recognize their names. I can't point to exactly who, but the artwork does look good. So that's good that they kept the fact that they did keep some good artwork on it. So that's cool. But yeah, it has been re-implemented by Via Magica. Students competing in the crystallization exam to be a junior mage. So I kind of like the Roman theme better, but to each their own. Let's see here. So, oops. Nice intro bag puller, player power rewards majority collection. Yep, that is correct. That's it. I knew it was a fantasy theme. It's fine. It was meant to be a silly comment. Of course it was. All right, so we'll go ahead and put this away now and give y'all a chance to talk some more. Cards were also nice components as well. They were all linen finished. They're kind of chunky cards as well. So it looks good. And there's a lot of them. I mean, there's a lot of cards here. So that's a pot. Ooh, I don't think that's going to fit in there. This is what these were in probably. But let's see. We'll look for a copy of this. Good Nuno. Well, again, like I said, Via Magica, as we just talked about, is the same game. It just has a different paint job on it. But I like this copy much better than the Via Magica one, just because I like the Roman theme a lot better. And it seems like the components in these might be a little bit nicer than the components in the Via Magica one. I've not seen that Via Magica game, though, in person, so I could be wrong on that. But it looked like all of these things were just cards and not tiles. And all of these Roman pieces were like the gems from Century Golem Edition, but just blue. That's what it looked like on the picture that I saw. But I can't... Those aren't bad, don't get me wrong, but I like the wooden Centurions a little bit better. I think I might play this game later. This is a really neat game. I forgot how much I enjoy this game. But just looking at it makes me want to play it again. And that's another reason why I'm kind of doing this, is because I find that when I break games open again, I'm reminded of how much I like them. Yeah, this box is so huge, man. So huge. Unnecessarily huge. But it is what it is. But I really do enjoy the game. And this has just made me remember Simba. So that was Rise of Augustus. What are you guys going on here? Pedro is here. Pedro Navarro, good to see you. Hello, hello. We'll look for a copy of this. Nice coasters, 2 for cards not used. Okay. Glad to have refreshed your memory. All right, the next one that we're going to talk about here. Uh-oh. Are we experiencing... Let's see, are we experiencing... No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. Sometimes reprinted games don't look better, like Sheriff of Nottingham. Yeah, that's true. I would agree with that. All right. So it looked there for a little bit like we were experiencing some buffering issues, but and if that's the case, I apologize. I don't know that there's much I can do about it, but it looks like it might be okay. So we're just going to leave it be for right now. Next one we're going to talk about is this little fella right here. Now, this is actually younger. This is actually only 9 years old. This one came out in 2014, but you can see how I thought it maybe was older because it does come in one of those boxes that has a slipcase over it. This is what the box looks like. Good old Victory Point Games. Manufactured and assembled in the United States of America. And the little game company that could, Victory Point Games. And it came in this, I have to be careful because I did actually, over the years, this slipcase has just been ravaged, if I can say it that way. But this one is actually younger than this one. So, which shocked me. I thought this one was definitely an older game, but it isn't. Villainous Vikings. In Villainous Vikings, your goal is to amass as many Valhalla points as possible before Ragnarok happens, securing your captain the best seat in Valhalla to tell his tales of battle and drink his mead. You will gain Valhalla points by raiding, trading, and battling the other captains who are also vying for Odin, the Allfather's favor. So, people told me that this was the Viking game for Viking games back in the day. So I said, okay, I'll look for it. Not easy to find. Found it at like a flea market at a convention somewhere. I can't even remember. It might have been Dice Tower East. And I was like, well, I've heard so much about it. I might as well pick it up. Picked it up. And it's been on my shelf since. So this is kind of a a couch moment where I'm confessing my improprieties, and so we are going to take a look, however, at Villainous Vikings, and we'll go from there. Let's see here. Very short buffer, but it's okay now. Cool. Yeah, I got refreshed too. Super. Seems fine. Sunspots. Ryan Moore. I'm sunspots. Yeah. That could be. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks of The Lion King when hearing the word remember. Right? My daughter made me watch it about 100 times. Yeah, that's about the size of it. So, let me go ahead and get down to the table here, and we'll take a look at Villainous Vikings. Darkest Night. So again, this is a Victory Games catalog. For the Crown, Legions of Darkness, Loot and Scoot, Battle of Four Armies, Skagway, Destined Hero, The Game Plays the Thing, Tinka, and Dawn of the Zeds, available now, back in 2014, I guess. All right, so here is, I'll keep that out right there. Here's the rule book. And it is a strategy game. Thank you for telling us that, rule book. On the back, it looks like you have a battle sequence, turn actions, 2 per turn. So you can do 2 of these actions per turn. Battle outcomes, costs. Okay. So that's kind of just like a quick reference there on the back. Formatting looks a little bit off, but it's all right. It's not bad. So we're just looking through the rule book here just a tad as we go through. So it doesn't look like it is very, very difficult at all. But, and that's not why I just haven't played it yet. I just, you know, there's so much to play, right? And, all right, finally breaking that. So these are the different cards that come in the game. Pape, London. Oh, there's a Guthrum, and Fenreaver, the Troll King, looks very similar to him. Just a little bit of a different hue. Huh. Edmund looks very similar. So does Brodir. And so does Ansgar. Why? We have different ships. Play immediately. Ragnarok Asgard event happens. So, okay. Well, now it looks like we're in Age 1, Age 2. Alfred the Great, Warriors, Charlemagne, Sultan of Cordoba. Interesting. All right. Age 3, so different age cards. So different kinds of... yeah. All right. So you have different types of ages. You have Age 1, Age 2, Age 3. And we have some dice. Yeah. Yikes on the artwork. Come on, Vanessa, be nice. I'm there with you, but okay, these are the dice. They have stickers on them. And over the years, these have not moved. These have not peeled up or curled up, which is something else. So, yeah, it's Victory Point games. We're not talking about stellar production quality here. I mean, it's the little... These are pretty neat. They're all laser cut wood, but these are pretty neat tokens. You have these little ships in here for each of the different... oh, it looks like these just kind of pop in here like that. Boom! That's pretty neat. I like little stuff like that. Pew. That's neat. I like it. But I am going to be trying to get this played here pretty soon because it has sat on my shelf of shame for quite some time. And if it is as good as it was touted to be, then I will definitely enjoy it. Blue, black, red, and green. And I don't know what those are. All right. Wow, what is... Oh, no. What is this? Stickers sheet 3 for the red dice. But the red... Oh, they're... Oh, yeah. You know what? That's funny. Oh, man. Check this out. Notice how I was saying earlier that... so that when... That cracks me up. I'm sorry. That's really funny. So here we have... This looks like it might be players. Might be. Yeah. Maybe. So we've got Sven Forkbeard. Is that on camera? Yeah, it is. We've got Ragnar, the legendary Norse warrior. We have Lagatha, the legendary shield maiden. We have Ivar the Boneless. We have Harold Fairhair. We have Glamour, Restless Draugr. Eric the Red. And then Björn Ironside, Sea King of Sweden. So those are probably the peeps that you could be in the game. And this is the board. The board is puzzles. That's interesting. So we're going to move this stuff out of the way. I'll put it all back together nicely, don't you worry. But I just want to get all this stuff out of the way right now. And so we can piece this board together. Okay, so this is probably, yeah, that goes like that. The board actually is a puzzle. Like this, and then like this. So this is the board. Wow. You can sail your ships around from different spots to different spots, I suppose. And then these are probably point markers, I would imagine. Yeah. So these can be up over here somewhere. Boom, boom, boom. Like so. That's kind of neat, having the board be, first of all, it's die-cut wood, laser-cut wood, and having it be a puzzle. That's pretty interesting. It actually, and I don't know if this was on purpose, but it actually kind of gives it a more rustic look, which is pretty cool for a Viking game, in my opinion, at least. But, wow, that makes me chuckle, having those replacement stickers. That's just super stinking funny, man. I am flabbergasted by that. That is, I mean, kudos on them back in the day for knowing that these stickers probably would peel up and knowing that they would need. I just don't know if these are going to be any good anymore. Because, I mean, they're 10 years old at that point. But anyway, that's pretty funny. I like it. Well, there you have that. Let's see here. Gotta love the first unboxing. Another catalog. Yep. Avalon Hill Old School. No, it's not old school. It's Victory Point. Well, it's not Avalon Hill. It's Victory Point Games. Yikes on the artwork. Yes, I know. They look like a wanted poster with different possible appearances of the perp. That's funny. It does. Stickers. Yep. My post office pick. Valley of the Kings has been sitting on my shelf unplayed since 2018. My New Dale stickers are worn. Okay, gone. Are those Vikings or dwarves? Well, they were definitely Vikings. Like, I mean, they were supposed to be Vikings. I'll put it that way. I mean, that's a Draugr, of course, but yeah, I can see what you're saying. These do look a lot like dwarves. I mean, Bjorn, Ironside, Eric the Red definitely look like dwarves. This one, not so much, but Ivar the Boneless definitely looks like a dwarf. Lagatha does not have a good enough beard to look like a dwarf, a female dwarf. Ragnar, he looks pretty close to, a Draugr, frankly. But Sven Forkbeard definitely looks like a dwarven-ish. So I get what you're saying there, but they are supposed to be dwarves. I mean wow, slip of the tongue there. They are supposed to be Vikings. Jigsaw time. Yep. Puzzle board is pretty neat, and so are the ships. Yes, they are. So I'm looking forward to actually getting this to the table now. As you can tell, this is the first time I've actually, opened the game and actually took some of these things apart, and I just couldn't wrap my head. I couldn't get my time. Didn't want to make the time, I guess, would be the better part. Is it wood? Yes, this board is wood. It's not cardboard. I think. Let me double check. Yeah, it's laser cut flimsy wood, but yeah, it's not cardboard. It is laser cut wood. So that is pretty neat. Funky. Makes me want to play. Yep, I know. Time to get out the super glue. Bushman stickers cut cost from wood. Price point. Yep, that's correct. That's because Peter Jackson dwarves. Yeah, that's true. Dinner time. Got to go eat. See you later, Vanessa. Thanks for the stream. You're welcome. Catch you later. See you later. Appreciate it. All right. Well, I tell you, that's pretty much all we had. I just wanted to open these two, one for nostalgia's sake and one for curiosity's sake, frankly. I think Warrior, Guthrum, Fenreaver, Edmund. Oh, wow. Okay, so maybe England. Maybe we need to keep these all kind of separated. Warrior. Got any more of those? Let's see. Extra ships. England, Alfred the Great. Home Guard and Beyond. Ireland, Brian Boru. Francia, Charlemagne. Mediterranean, Sultan of Cordoba. So then we just have age 1, age 2, age 3, and more ships over here. So I'm just going to be separating these things so that I kind of have a better idea of what's supposed to go where when I actually put this game together and try to play it. Age 2, age 1, and more age 3 over here. And that looks like it's about it. All right, well, Jesse is here. Hello, Jesse. Jesse, I did what you said I should do, and I pulled out a couple of games that were on the shelf. I'm going to put these in alphabetical order. Why not? A, B, C, D, E, E, F, G, H, I. Oh, G, H, I. O, F. Finland, Finland is first. Mediterranean is there. Francia goes right there. All right, those are all alphabetical. And good to go. What's your oldest game in your collection, if I can ask? Gee whiz, you know what? I have not a single clue. I haven't really done... I haven't done my due diligence as far as that's concerned. Just looking at my games... I want to say... Jessie hates it when I do this, by the way. So she's just going to have to get over it, I think. Build a bridge. I'm trying to put eyes on it so I can definitely say that... I mean, I own Cosmic Encounter, but I don't own the old version of Cosmic Encounter. But Cosmic Encounter is an old game, right? So that's probably... I do have Kings of Israel. That's pretty old, but not as old as other games that I have. Portals and Prophets, maybe. Rumus is an older one. Eruption's pretty old. But again, it's all within the 2000s. I don't think I have anything that is older than that. I mean, I've got Risk Legacy, but that's the legacy version of Risk. It's not Risk. I've got Necromunda up there, a Horus Heresy, both Betrayal at Calth and Burnings of Prospero. I've got Space Hulk, but again, they're not old games per se. Okay, what would you say is a future museum piece from my collection? A future museum piece from my collection? I would imagine that games like Ticket to Ride would make it into a museum at some point someday, because I think Ticket to Ride was so much a part of a revitalizing, I guess you could say. It's so popular is what I mean. So I think we could probably see, oh, more warriors. I think we could probably see more, we could see Ticket to Ride in museums in the future. I mean, Risk, definitely. It depends on the museum that you're going to, though. I mean, because, I mean, there's a gaming museum that's up in New York. It has a whole bunch of games in it. Games that I've never even heard of. I did get to lay eyes on one of the well, at least carbon copies of the notes that somebody had made as they were making the game Monopoly. So I've seen stuff like that before, and that I went up there. I went up to New York for a gathering of friends, and one of the excursions that we took as a group, part of us at least, was to go to the gaming museum up there in New York. I can't remember exactly where it is, but that was a neat thing. Got to see a lot of cool stuff there. A classic memoir, yeah, I could see that. I could see Memoir 44 being there, because it's, and I would imagine that Memoir 44 or Advanced Squad Leader, that was a big one. I would imagine that Memoir, though, was maybe more far-reaching than Advanced Squad Leader was. But again, it just depends on who's curating the museum, right? And how far their reach goes, and how far they decide to delve into the hobby as they're bringing in their pieces. So there's a number of different games that could be part of a museum somewhere. But I would say definitely Ticket to Ride, Catan. I mean, heck, Blood Rage. I could see Blood Rage being in there. It's been so popular. ASL is already a classic. You got that right. All right. Well, I gotta go get my son, so we can get him from school. So I do need to get on out of here. 3:04. I got to leave in about 10 minutes. So I want to thank y'all for joining me. This is a whim. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I will read those as dutifully as I possibly can. I want to thank you for joining me. I feel like I belong in a museum of oddities. No, Brian. What you need to do is get me your top 5 list. Brian, I know you're busy, dude, and I know you have a weird schedule, but sooner is better than later. I know it's not until next Friday, but I need to build that. PowerPoint sooner rather than later. Hint, hint. Did I light a fire, Brian? Thanks for the great stream. Thank you. Continue series, please. I will. I'm struggling to make it good, but it's mostly done. I appreciate it, dude. A lot of that was just tongue-in-cheek, but I did want to just remind you, because I saw the text that you sent later on. I certainly belong in a museum. I am that unique. Jesse. Yes, you are. We all are. All right. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to get out of here. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.